Welcome to the Pale Green Podcast. I'm your host, Gil, and on this channel, I discuss how you can use Jiu Jitsu as a tool to teach you most of, if not all, life's lessons. All right, so really quick before we get into the topic of today's episode, I just want to talk about this for a second. I was out for a little while from YouTube. I was finishing getting this business up and running. It's a clothing brand within the Jiu Jitsu niche. It's called Pale Green Co. It's just a super clean, basic, minimal style, quiet brand with a twist of Jiu Jitsu subtleties to it. And this is the first product. It's going to be your drawstrings that look like a little Jiu Jitsu belt. I have every belt color, white through black, kids colors included. You can buy the drawstring all by itself and put it in whatever hoodie you want, or you can pick up a hoodie. I have 2 different hoodies on the website. So if that's something you're interested, link is in the description, palegreenco.com. All right, so I'm calling this episode 1, even though I've done other videos on topics like this. But now that I've been doing this for a little while, I'm starting to refine my approach and how I want to go about discussing these topics. So you're going to see some new changes from here on out. So what better topic for episode 1 than to discuss what this channel is about? And so as I mentioned in the intro, this channel is about using Jiu Jitsu as a tool to learn most of, if not all, life lessons. And so that's what the channel is going to be about, but I'll use episode 1 to go over why Jiu Jitsu works so well as the tool for these life lessons. So there's the obvious reason that I've just done Jiu Jitsu for a long time, so it's very easy to relate to a lot of different topics. Less obvious is the fact that I have learned all of these lessons through my experiences with training Jiu Jitsu for almost 17 years now at this point. If you go even deeper, the main reason why I choose Jiu Jitsu is because Jiu Jitsu is one of the best tools available out there. And the reasons why is because you can cover so many different aspects of life. And so what do I mean by that? Different aspects of life. So if you pick an endeavor, pick a pursuit, let's say chess. Chess is considered very intellectual. If you pursue chess, you'll learn some life lessons, and it's going to all be basically in the intellectual realm of things. You're not going to learn how to use your body, your physical body, connecting the mind and the body, physical stuff, eating healthy, stretching, training, all the physical aspects that you would learn from a physical endeavor. And then vice versa. You pick a physical endeavor like football, for instance. You're going to learn all that physical stuff that I just mentioned, but you're not really going to learn much on the intellectual side. Obviously, there's going to be some crossover between both the intellectual one getting a little bit of physical and the physical one getting a little bit of intellectual. But in my opinion, there's no better cross between the two than Jiu Jitsu. Jiu Jitsu is commonly referred to as human chess. So that kind of goes perfect with what I just used. So it's compared to chess because it's a very intellectual pursuit. You'll learn a lot of the intellectual side of things, the mental side of things, but they have human in there to show the physical aspect of it. It's still a sport, a physical sport. You need to be in shape, you need to eat well, you need to stretch, you need to prehab, take care of your body, so you still get all that physical side of it. So it covers the intellectual and the physical side better than anything that I know of personally. And then you have the bonus aspect that it's a martial art. So let's say you found a sport that's pretty intellectual, but it's just a sport. It's just a game. You're trying to win like a game. Jiu-Jitsu is a martial art. So you get the whole other aspect of there's lots of life lessons in there, particularly for men, as far as learning to fight, learn to defend yourself, learn to defend your woman and your children, things like that. And then dig into the martial arts aspect of it, even within all the so maybe you might want to say that you could learn these things from any martial art. I personally don't find that to be true. And if it is true, it's still Jiu-Jitsu is the best example. I would argue that Jiu-Jitsu is the most intellectual martial art. So from that aspect, you're going to get a higher level on that mental, intellectual side. Physically, it's very demanding. It's up there in the top. But even all that aside, the biggest reason is that Jiu-Jitsu is special in the way that you could train jiu-jitsu for a very long time, if not forever. It just depends on your approach to jiu-jitsu. Why is it different? So other grappling sports, judo and wrestling. In wrestling, their goal is to not get their back to the mat. So they will let people wrench on like their knee, for instance, and twist it up and put a lot of damage on there just to make sure their back doesn't hit the mat. And then, for instance, in judo, the way to win in judo is the ippon. It's a big aerial throw, and you want them to land flat on their back, and the goal is to land on top of them when they hit the mat. So that's just very high impact. It's very rough on the body. And maybe wrestling's takedowns aren't as high impact, but it's still standing to the ground is where there's going to be some high impact in there. And even within jiu-jitsu, they consider the wrestling aspect, the on the feet to the ground aspect of jiu-jitsu as the most dangerous part. And that's what that entire sport is, feet to the ground. And then you can go into the striking martial arts. So the difference with those is even more obvious. They're striking. Their ways to win, their main ways to win is to knock your opponent out. They're looking to separate you from your consciousness with strikes. So strikes, blunt force impacts. We have no strikes in jiu-jitsu, so there's no CTE. So obviously accidents can happen. You will get hit here and there, but just overall we take way less of those high impacts, like not even remotely close. And so within jiu-jitsu, there is a very highly competitive area of jiu-jitsu. So if that's what you want, you can pursue a very high level of jiu-jitsu that you will not be able to do your entire life. You have a shorter span athletic career where you can do that, and there's academies set up for you to pursue that. But outside of that, your average academy isn't going to be like that. Depending on the instructor and how they run the academy, it can be much, much safer as far as injuries and longevity go and things like that. So the fact that you can do jiu-jitsu in a way that still keeps it very competitive, but it takes out most of the risk of injury, so you have a lot longer longevity in the sport. And then when you pursue something for the longer you pursue something, the more lessons you're going to get out of it. And so these are just the basic reasons on why I choose jiu-jitsu as like the core for learning life's lessons. I just think it's one of the best tools we have out there. So if you enjoyed this episode and it makes sense to you and you want to learn more about some of these life lessons that I've learned from training jiu-jitsu, then please like and subscribe, share, let your friends know. And again, if you're interested in the clothing brand stuff, check out the link in the description at palegreenco.com. Thanks.